wind is a very interesting phenomenon. Because the thing about wind is that wind in itself is not going to hurt you. But it's what wind can do that can cause a lot of peril. And the disciples, when they were on a boat crossing the lake, and Jesus was asleep down in the bow of the boat, and these disciples were experiencing wind, because this is what the way Luke describes it in the Gospel of Luke. He said it was a storm of wind, and the wind was ferocious. And wind can be very intimidating that way. I remember one time in a hurricane that was coming into the area where we live here in the Tallahassee area, and I decided to ride it out in the little porch on our house. It's been enclosed. I have a little office there. My wife had gone to Louisiana with her mother. She wasn't here. My children were saying, "Daddy, you need to come and stay at our house." And I said, "Well, you all have got a hurricane coming to your house too." And I decided to ride it out there in that little porch. I'm telling you what, you talking about a night. Just feeling the wind is here. Because think about it, hurricanes, it comes in gusts. The wind gust, and it just blows the trees over it. It's just really wild. And I'll never forget that night. But it taught me something about wind. Is it becomes dangerous when it starts throwing things at you. And in this case, as they were there on the boat, it became even more dangerous when you add the element of water. And so now not only had they the fear of this ferocious wind that's blowing, but now they're experiencing it blowing water over the bow of the ship and over to the sides of the ship. And the ship was taking on water. And Scripture says, and they were in jeopardy. And so that's the question I've been asking this week. I said, what do you do when your boat is in jeopardy? Well, the thing about it is that you realize there are things in life that can be very frightening. And they seemingly to be bigger than anything that you can think of, and have great power over us. But then I remember a scripture, and the scripture simply says that God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. And that says to me that God has given us the power to call into a higher power, and that is the Lord himself. But in this case, Jesus was asleep. A lot of times we feel that way when we cry out to God, and we desperately need to hear from God. Well, you see, that's a very important element of what to do when your boat is in jeopardy. Well, you cry out to God. But you see, God's not going to be manipulated. And if we're going to come to God, we're going to do it his way. And that's what we're going to talk about tomorrow or the next day. Because Jesus asked that question, remember, where is your faith? This is Pastor Jack King with the gospel on the radio broadcast.